Today, we're going to explore a journey that doesn't just end when a soldier leaves the battlefield. Not at all. It's the journey home. And that's not just about getting back to a place. It's about getting back to yourself. We're going to use the words from a really powerful monologue to guide us through these echoes of war. And right from the jump, this line gets straight to the heart of the experience. See, it's not about the war itself, but what happens after. This one sentence just sets the entire stage for this huge disconnect between a soldier and the world they thought they knew. So this sets up the central conflict, doesn't it? What happens when that hero's welcome we all picture clashes with the messy, complicated reality of actually coming home? There's this massive gap between those two worlds, and that's exactly where this story really begins. And here is that disconnect, just laid bare. On one side, you've got society's view, right? The hero, the medals, the parades. It's clean, it's simple. But on the other side, that's Michael's internal reality. He feels broken, haunted, like a problem that somebody needs to fix. It's not just a gap, it's a chasm between two completely different universes. Just think about that for a second. 6 months. That's half a year feeling like a total stranger in your own life. This isn't just about getting used to a new schedule. No. This is the deep down feeling that the person who lived this life before is gone, and you're just some actor trying to play their part. So because of all that friction on the outside, the real battle gets forced inward. The war doesn't just stop when you leave the physical battlefield. A whole new one kicks off, right inside your own head, a place that's haunted by what our source calls the echoes. Okay, so the echoes. This is the central idea of the whole story. They're basically the ghosts of war, the memories, the sounds, the feelings that just keep reverberating long after the fighting is over. They create this haunting internal landscape of the past that you're stuck in. And these echoes, they're not just some vague, fuzzy feeling. Oh no, they show up in really concrete ways. We're talking about that jolt of panic when a car backfires, sleepless nights filled with the sound of gunfire, that constant nagging question, was it all worth it? You basically become a ghost in your own hometown. Well, you can probably guess what happens next. This intense internal battle, it leads to one of the most painful parts of this whole journey, this profound, crushing sense of isolation. I mean, you can be surrounded by people who love you, but there's this invisible wall built by your experiences that they just can't get over. You know, this single number just captures that feeling perfectly. You could be in a room packed with your family and friends in the very town you grew up in and still feel completely, utterly alone. The loneliest number there is. And this is a kind of loneliness that exists even in a crowd. It's because those echoes, they're like a private soundtrack that only you can hear. And that creates this invisible barrier between you and literally everyone else. It's a weight you feel like you have to carry all by yourself. And this is absolutely crucial. Even when a veteran does everything they're supposed to do, go to therapy, talk it out, that core feeling of being isolated can stick around. Because let's face it, understanding trauma on an intellectual level is one thing, but truly sharing that visceral experience, that's something else entirely. But here's the thing. The story doesn't just end in that lonely place. This is the turning point. This is about discovering that while you can't erase the past, you can build a bridge from its ruins, a bridge to a brand new future. And here it is. This is the light bulb moment. It's the shift from thinking I am my trauma to my trauma is a part of me. It's realizing that the echoes can be a chapter in the book of your life, sure, but you are the one who gets to write all the rest of the chapters. So how do you actually build that bridge? Well, the source lays out a pretty clear path, and it all comes down to one thing: connection. It all starts by reaching out, by finding other people who hear the same echoes you do. And then suddenly you have a common language. You can share stories, not as burdens, but as the actual building blocks for a shared future. So what's the point of sharing all these painful stories? Let's be really clear. It is not about glorifying the past or just reliving trauma. It's about taking the raw, broken pieces of that past and using them to construct something brand new, a future built on understanding and compassion. And all of this work, this connection, it leads to the final stage of the journey, forging a new identity. It's about taking all the pieces, the soldier you were, the person you are now, the echoes, the hope, and creating something that is whole and real and authentic. I absolutely love this way of reframing it. Coming home isn't a one-time thing. It's not a destination on a map. It's this long, ongoing internal process of rediscovery, of putting yourself back together. It's all about finding out who you are now. And this is the transformation. Those old sounds, the echoes of gunfire, the sounds of the past, they don't just disappear overnight, but they start to fade. And in the space they leave behind, new sounds can finally start to grow. Sounds like laughter and love and hope. This final thought is just so powerful because it's not some fairy tale ending. It's grounded in a really realistic kind of hope. It acknowledges that the change, the scars, are permanent, but it insists that a good, meaningful life is still absolutely possible. It just might look a little different than it did before. And so, the story leaves us with this question. Because while this particular experience is unique, this idea of being haunted by echoes from our past, well, that's pretty universal, isn't it? It invites all of us to think, what echoes from your own story can you learn to quiet, to make some space for new sounds of hope in your life?